Hello and welcome to this Cuz Bad Guys breakdown video. In this breakdown we are going to go through and do the Knight Models Batman Miniatures game setup and game turn. So to just start off, you will need a tabletop that is going to be 90 centimeters by 90 centimeters, which is roughly 3 foot by 3 foot. Any terrain that you have, you can place inside the gaming area in any configuration really that you want, and then you are ready to start the game with pre-game sequence. So let's get right on to the pre-game sequence. The pre-game sequence is as follows, and this picture is just from the standard Batman Miniatures game rulebook. It starts off with A, scenario selection, B, urban furniture, C, cruise, D, objectives, and E, start playing. So we will start off with sequence A, scenario selection. So essentially section A is going to be the mission that you're going to be playing. These scenarios here are out of the Batman Miniatures rulebook. There are other missions that you can play, which would be under the Batmatch rules. There are scenarios that are also in the Flash and Green Arrow expansion. I'm sure there's also more scenarios in other expansions to come out. So you can either roll a d6 and get this and randomly choose a mission, or with your opponent you can sit down and say, which mission do you want to play? Do you want to randomize it? Do you want to, say for example, play just chance encounter? Or do you want to do something thematic and totally create your own scenario? So the first thing that you're going to do in pre-game selection is pick which mission you're going to play, and that will give you your victory conditions and your deployment area. After section A is section B, which is urban furniture. Here you're going to figure out where sewer markers are and lampposts. So both sewer markers and lampposts are terrain that you can interact with, and that urban furniture can help you out in the game. So just being really quick, the first thing that you'll do is you'll roll a d3 with your opponent, and you guys will place d3 sewer marker objectives. It's important to note that they can only be deployed 5 centimeters away from table edges and 20 centimeters away from each other. The same goes for lampposts. And then we'll go ahead and go on to the next section. The next section is going to be cruise. So this is going to be the cruise that you have already set up. You've already chosen your team that you're playing, or what bad guys or good guys. You will divide your team up into 2 groups, and then you'll roll a dice or flip a coin or whatever you want to do with your opponent to figure out who gets to choose deployment zones. So the scenario is going to tell you where you can deploy your characters. After deploying characters, we move on to section B, which is objectives. So after you know where your opponent is, after your opponent knows where your guys are, you get to put down your objectives, usually in the on the other side of the board, because your characters need to go get those objectives. I have another video that talks about objectives and where they can be deployed, how many points they're worth. Go check that out. It should be pretty helpful for you. After deploying objectives, we go right on into E, which is start playing the game. So when we start playing the game, this is when you start figuring out initiative and the sequence of play for each turn. So here is the table for sequence of play for the Batman Miniatures game. It's pretty easy. You put counters into a bag equal to the number of turns that there are supposed to be. The scenario will give you the guideline for that and let you know how to do that. So first you take the lead, which you draw a counter out of the bag, see who gets to go first or who has the initiative in the turn. Then you do raise the plan, which is using your willpower on the character cards. You put power into each of the characters' actions and make it so they can act during the turn. The person who has the initiative will raise the plan first. The opponent will then see what you're planning, and then hopefully try to counter what you're doing. After raise the plan, you will do step 3, which is execute the plan. which is going to be activating each of your characters. The person with the initiative will activate a character first, and then in sequence, you will pass back and forth between you and your opponent, each activating a character. There are special rules that can change the order of this, or make it so you can chain activate or not activate a character depending on the number of characters that you have. After execute the plan, so after every character on the table has been activated that can activate, you'll go to step 4, which is victory points and casualty recount. So in this phase, you will try to recover any damage that you can on characters on the tabletop, and then after you do that, you will check victory conditions. So check to see what points you get from objectives that you control or don't control. And then after all of that, after you have played the sequence of play through the amount of turns that you need to do, at the end of that, so at the end of turn 6 or turn 8, whatever the mission specifies, you will add up the victory recount, so all the victory points that you and your opponent have collected over the course of the game, and whoever has the highest points wins. There are different ways to designate if this is a draw, if it's a total victory, if it's a minor victory. It all depends on what chart you want to use for that. If this is a campaign style mission, if it's a thematic storyline mission, all of those things can change, and it's one of the great things about this game. That is it for this video with setup and the turn breakdown. Let me know what you guys think. If there are any missions that you guys play that you like to play more than other ones, what do you guys prefer? I would really like to hear about that. And remember, 'cause bad guys.